Hello, everyone, and welcome to ROKStudios. I'm Stan Miller, a PR and Analyst Relations Manager for Rockwell Automation in the EMEA region, and I'm joined today by Dave White. Dave White is the OT Security Lead for EET Fuels. Dave, welcome to the studio.
Afternoon, Stan.
And I'm also joined today by John Speakman. He is Cybersecurity Services Team Lead in EMEA in the North for Rockwell. John, always a pleasure to have you.
Good to be here, Stan.
So, gentlemen, today we're here to talk about how effective cybersecurity and NIS compliance first requires organizational trust. But before we get into the topic, Dave, could you just tell us a little bit about EET Fuels?
Absolutely. So I'm Dave White from EET Fuels, and we provide approximately 17% of the UK's fuel, including aircraft fuel, diesel, petroleum. And we're also invested heavily into hydrogen also. And in the next, say, 3-4 years, we're going to be producing hydrogen for the UK also.
That's perfect. I mean, talk about a critical industry as far as energy goes. So when we talk about that, plus cybersecurity, I can't wait to get into the questions, so let's get started. So Dave, starting with you, in your experience, and more broadly looking at the industry, are companies investing sufficient time and resources into their cybersecurity efforts? What do you see out there across the broader industry?
What I see, unfortunately, sufficient investment is not being made as it should be. The CNIs or OESs, like who I work for, they are starting to invest because of the NIS regulations and the push on the NIS regulations.
All right, well, that's important. I think that's an important context for my next question. John, if I could ask you, from your perspective, what role do regulations such as the NIS directive play in encouraging secure operation practices? And what would you say, or would you say, many companies are looking to ensure compliance?
We've definitely seen an increase in the number of organizations that are coming to us for assistance in compliance. Regulations such as NIS do help in a way. There's a bit of carrot and stick, as always, to these regulations as the threat of fines. Although, for some operators, the fines are not huge, relative to the loss of production. But what the regulations do provide is a framework for compliance. So it's the same framework for all operators of essential services under the NIS directive, and the National Cybersecurity Centre in the UK provide us with that framework. So it gives guidance on how customers should design the networks, how they should operate, how they should detect events, how they should handle incidents, and so on. So in that respect, the frameworks like NIS do help because they give everybody the same technical standards and guidance on how to be compliant. We see different levels of compliance across different industries. Some are more advanced than others, even though they're all dealing with the same framework. But I think one of the big benefits of ensuring compliance with these frameworks to these operators is that by being more secure, they can actually hit their productivity targets. They're going to have less downtime. They'll have better operational equipment efficiency. It can even contribute positively to sustainability goals because production downtime impacts sustainability. So there's lots of additional benefits to being cyber secure, and part of the role of my team is to help these organizations understand how they can realize these benefits rather than it just being seen as cybersecurity for the sake of cybersecurity.
That's really interesting to see how cybersecurity connects with productivity and sustainability.
Indeed.
Really appreciate you connecting those dots. Dave, from your perspective, and again, broadly speaking, across the industry, do you think most companies are accurately assessing their cybersecurity posture? What do you see out there in the world?
Like the question before. I think at the moment we're a couple of years away from maturity. I don't believe all companies are taking it serious. I think the the regulators are putting a lot of pressure on us, on the industry, and imposing fines, and this is what is kicking things off. But I don't think companies are taking it so serious as you should do. The reason being is most companies who haven't been hit think that they're never going to be hit, so they're just saying, well, it's never going to happen to us. But what I always say to companies, it's not if, it's when, because you will be hit. If you're a CNI or if you're an OES, you will be hit at some point, and then you've got to deal with the consequences.
Dave, that is a very sobering assessment. I think you've given us a lot to think about with that one. Well, one more question for you, if I could, Dave. How can bridging the gap between IT and OT contribute to a stronger cybersecurity measures?
Okay. What we have at the moment, we have the OT world and the IT world, and bridging this gap is super important because we've got two different entities. We've got the OT world, they live in a bubble, and nobody can penetrate them, and we've got the IT world, they tend to be blasé, and they don't follow they're not as methodical as the OT guys. So what we're trying to do at the moment, so we're trying to bridge this gap by gaining the trust of the OT guys to let IT in and IT help them, so we can converge. Once we converge and we can apply IT systems and OT systems together, we can provide so much more remote monitoring. We can provide early warning systems, lots and lots of different systems. But until we get this trust, we've got nothing. All the money in the world, all the ideas in the world, without that trust, we've got nothing. If they don't let us in, then we might as well just walk away. So that's the biggest problem the industry is seeing at the moment, is trying to build this gap, to build these bridges.
Dave, that makes complete sense. And when we talk with a variety of experts in the field, the convergence of IT and OT is always a journey. So what you've detailed makes perfect sense and really valuable perspective. So thank you very much for sharing it. And John, always a pleasure as well. Gentlemen, thank you both for sharing your thoughts and perspective in the studio today.
Thank
you. Thank you.
And thank you for watching. If you'd like to learn more about industrial security solutions, visit rockwellautomation.com.